Go.
I don't even know.
Ladies and gentlemen, welcome back to the Big Four Podcast. First podcast of the season.
Let's go. First one of the season.
We have a lot to talk about today. We also have a live studio audience. And this is the first podcast we've had all four of us in person. So we're going to start here with
Gary Patterson.
the effect of COVID-19 on the college football schedule. All conferences go into all conference.
Big 12 just said it today.
The Big 12 as well, all conference schedules, and some of them will be coming out. There have been some schedule releases so far, but we'll get some immediate reactions from the impacts of college football just being all conference. Mike, start with you.
Yeah, there's a 0% chance the season happens. It's not going to happen. Maybe the SEC, but nowhere else. There's just too many obstacles to overcome. We've seen in the baseball season that it's been just a mess so far early on. And the NFL, who the heck knows what they're doing. But it's just a logistical nightmare with these student athletes, so-called student athletes. They want to be paid, but that's another.
Yeah, no, Mike, you're wrong. There's a 100% chance this season's going to happen. College football, are you kidding me? They can do whatever they want to these players. Like the MLB, they can't tell them they have to stay at home.
Man, we saw what Gary Patterson did. He hasn't been fired yet.
Let's relax.
Listen, the NCAA, these schools can do whatever the hell they want to these players. They don't care. They do not care at all. They're going to lock them down in these rooms 24/7. Michigan's going to be bringing them their freaking online tutors that don't exist because they take these stupid gen ed classes. Same with UNC. And the season's going to get in. We're having a season, 100% chance. My sources are telling me.
No.
Alex?
Well, Mike brought up baseball. It's also run by the worst commissioner in all of professional sports, Rob Manfred. But
well, this is amateur athletics, so
yeah, that's true. Yeah. Well, I hate to say it, but I'm with Luke. They can kind of do whatever they want with them. And I think the conference schedule will happen. It's the smart thing to do. It limits the travel.
that gives them more flexibility.
Yeah.
Yep. The live studio audience is fired up right now.
Let's go.
I think the season's going to start, and I've seen some things where they're going to have games like Michigan and Ohio State be earlier in the season. We'll see that tomorrow when the schedule's released. But I wouldn't be surprised if it's canceled at some point when the season starts. But if they have the big games early, that'll bring them in some money. And I know they're really concerned about the money, of course. They don't actually care about playing.
They're charging $100,000 for online tuition.
They don't even care about playing the games,
Yeah,
really. The
fucking
NCAA cares about the money. We'll see. So do the conferences. So they're going to have those games early. But the conference
Shout out to the
schedule-
Ivy League for being a joke and canceling before the freaking July. What a joke of a conference they are.
And there might only be, it's probably only going to be one lost team, or it's probably only going to be undefeated teams. I know Mike's dream scenario. He always has 7 undefeated teams making the playoff. And this might be a year that happens. So
Well,
that's
you see
the
the
biggest
bowl?
effect.
The bowl committee just said that they might change the rules this year, and you might not have to be 500.
There you go.
Yeah, Michigan
They
might
just
make
said
a bowl
they
this year
might
now.
tell the conferences that.
Well, the thing is, if Michigan and
rank
Ohio
them.
State play early in the season, it's better for Michigan because we don't fall apart till the end of the season.
Well, it's Ohio State, so it doesn't matter.
That's a fair point.
And
I
if
also-
we lose this year, there's going to be an asterisk with it. It doesn't count. But if we win, it counts.
Well, I like to see how, like, Alabama, they can't play the Citadel in Week 10. So
That's
I'd
right.
like to see how that plays out.
All right, we have some 10-game conference previews here. Are we going conference by conference here?
Sure.
All right, let's start with the Pac-12. We don't know if that season's actually going to happen. There's been
What are we
some,
predicting our winners?
yeah, who's going to win the Pac-12?
Oh.
Shout out to Nick Rolovich for having big balls and telling his players that want to be paid to get the hell out. He's
I just want to
he's a
remind
great
everybody.
coach.
Likely
I just
test.
want to remind everybody. Last year, I picked all the conference winners right and had the playoffs right. So,
Yeah, well, shut the hell up.
All right.
so if you're going to go to the gambling,
Where's your
Pick my
trophy
pick.
for that? I don't
All
see a
right,
trophy.
we're gonna pick the conference winners, and then we'll go around and say who you think's gonna make the playoff. So we'll start with the Pac-12. Mike, who's gonna win the Pac-12?
Washington State. I think they've got really good momentum coming into the season. I really like their coach. He's got big balls. There's nothing else to say. No other coach in the Pac-12 has balls. Clay Helton. You think Clay Helton has balls? Since when? The dude had one of the worst recruiting classes in Southern California history. I mean, come on. Chip Kelly. What is this? 2010? Like, come on. Bronco Mendenhall hasn't won anything in 20 years there. You know, it's the only time he
Bronco
won something.
Mendenhall,
No. What?
coach of Virginia. Wow, I didn't know they moved conferences.
Now, Kyle Whittingham, my bad. Herm Edwards has balls, but only against Michigan State. Against every other team, he sucks as a coach. Look out for Arizona. I mean, they got a really good coach.
it's Khalil Tate
Okay,
back.
who are you taking
It's
to win the
Khalil
conference?
Tate coming back from
Washington
college.
State?
No, you're not. Who are you taking to win
Except
the
for
conference?
2012.
Yeah.
Oregon, I suppose.
Oregon.
I'm going to take. I think it's either going to be Oregon or Utah, but I'll go with Utah. I like Utah. I think it's their year to break through.
Yeah, you're on crack.
I'm on crack. You just
Well-
Washington State's my pick.
No, I like their momentum.
Well, whatever Luke's taking, I'll be taking this.
Who do you think I'll be picking in the Big 12?
I'm going Utah. I think this is their year. I like what they're bringing in, and I think eventually they're going to have to crack through, and they'll win the Big Ten, Pac-12 South, and I think they'll knock Oregon off the throne this year. I think this is their year.
Yeah, I like Arizona State.
I also like Cal. They're bringing back like 22 of their starters.
Arizona State, they have a top 3 quarterback in the country, Jaden Daniels. Great quarterback. Herm Edwards, great
Remember when he
coach.
said he was going to win the Heisman 2 years ago?
And the Pac-12, they have to play Oregon, but all the other teams, they're better than, talent-wise, on the field. So if they can win that Oregon game, I think they're going to win this conference. And it is at Oregon, but I'll take Arizona State because they have the better quarterback and the better coach. We saw that last year when they played. So I'll take ASU. All right, let's move to the Big 12.
Me?
Mike.
Oh, of course. I got to take TCU. I mean, you talk about a well-respected coach by his players. Karen Patterson is one of the best. He's
Hit the soundboard.
already got a statue in front of.
Yeah, it's a joke.
He's already got a statue in front
That's
of.
going to be the next statue they're going to be.
All right.
But anyway, listen, the players love him. They never walk out of meetings. He's such a great coach. Really treats them with respect. The talent's there. Everything's there. With that being said, got to go with Texas because what's his name? Who's the coach there? Herm Edwards?
Tom Herman.
Tom Herman.
Are you just taking Texas because you like them in basketball?
No, I think it's Texas' year.
Hook 'em.
Texas is back.
Luke?
Obviously, the sleeper once again this year is Iowa State. I'm wearing the hat, and Matt Campbell. But I think I'm going to have to go with Oklahoma.
Well, here's the good thing for Iowa State. Matt Campbell won't lose to Iowa for the 50th
That's right.
straight year.
Unless the Iowa governor forces him to play.
Speak of Gary Patterson,
All right,
Kirk
okay,
Ferentz.
all right.
What's Kirk Ferentz doing in Iowa City?
Did you know
My
the
God.
the two most longest tenured coaches in the FBS?
Probably.
Kirk Ferentz, Gary Patterson.
All right,
Coincidence?
Alex.
Well, I know Semino's a big Les Miles guy.
That's right.
To pick Kansas out of the dark, I'm going to
No,
go.
but dark horse Iowa State.
Yeah, no,
Matt Campbell.
Dark Horse Kansas wasn't beating an FBS team. And who knows?
I agree with Dark Horse Kansas.
No, but I'm going to go with Baylor. I'll pick the upset.
Ooh.
I
Well, they
don't know.
lost Matt Rule.
Yeah, they did, but I think they're going to break through Lincoln Riley this year. I'm going with some upsets.
Matt Rule also well respected by his players.
The best team in this conference
Art Briles.
has not been. All right.
Mark Browns is a great coach.
Okay. The best team in this conference has not been mentioned yet. It's Oklahoma State. They returned a lot of production.
Speaking of coaches who are well respected by their players,
All right.
Mike Gundy.
Mike Gundy, great coach.
OAN
Coming
legend.
back.
So what's going to
Gary
happen?
Patterson should wear a shirt too.
I think the Big 12 is going to screw itself because they're both going to lose one game, and Oklahoma State's going to beat them in the
Here's
championship.
what I'll say about the Big 12. They already got one automatic win because one team's not even going to have a freaking team. All of them are going to quit on the team.
Yeah, that's probably
Well, even
true.
though I'm well respected.
Okay, but I'm taking
Well, they're champions.
Oklahoma State.
Why is he?
Watch out for Oklahoma State.
He's just a great coach. He's
Well,
a
they
great
go.
man.
All right, we're going to move on now to the next conference, the ACC.
Oh, another great list.
What about the Sun
Speaking of
Belt?
Dabo Sweeney, another great respected coach.
The ACC.
Well, this is an easy one. I mean, you got to look at the most controversial schools. Wake Forest, great team. They lost their crappy quarterback who sucks.
Oh yeah, can Notre Dame win the championship this year?
They can.
Yeah.
Ooh.
But
Is Ian Book still their quarterback?
yeah, for the 50th straight year.
18th straight year. Who's been at their school longer? Ian Book or Jaden Daniels? Or Khalil Tate?
Daniels.
No, Khalil
Jaden
Tate. That's
Daniels
who I was
been there
thinking of.
forever.
It's like the Perry
Just
Ellis
forever.
of the NCAA.
He was a freshman last year.
I was thinking Khalil Tate. That's what I was thinking.
Go ahead. All right.
Anyway, gotta go with Clemson for sure.
I think in a couple of years, I think BC will be good.
Let's go.
I like the hire of Jeff Halfley. But I think Clemson, Trevor's coming back. And now some players have been calling out the coaching staff there, another well-respected coaching staff. You just see them all over the country. But I'm going to have to go with Clemson. They're just the best team. They have the most talent. They get the best recruiting class every year. Until someone can match up recruiting, Clemson's going to win the ACC.
Yep. Well, none of you are going on a limb. I'm not going to go on a limb either. It's Clemson. Well, we'll start. I have to say, Duke is a horrible football program.
Do they still have that
That's
80-year-old
like-
coach?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Cutcliffe?
David Cutcliffe, is he dead yet? Has he said a racist joke yet?
I'm with Luke. They had to get Adazio out of BC. They'll be good in a couple of years, but I'll go with Clemson. That's
That's ridiculous. Adazio was a great coach. That was a
Yeah, that's a
horrible
good point.
fire.
He's the Josh Stoll. Because he's 500 every year.
Adazio was
500 with a bowl win every year.
All right.
All right.
So,
This is not a nice neighborhood.
I'm going to take.
If you haven't heard, we're doing this podcast in the middle of Harlem, New York.
All right. I'm going to take Clemson, and I'm not going to get an explanation. SEC, Mike.
Ooh, this is a tough one. Alabama, really good. They bring back a lot of people, especially their defense is going to be very good. Georgia, I think they're the most talented team in the SEC. Florida, I think, supremely overrated. I think they'll have a down year. But it's got, you know what? I got to take Georgia here for sure.
Mississippi State with Mike Leach now is a team to sleep on. Lane Kiffin and Ole Miss as I pee on the table. But you got to go with Alabama. They're true to their colors every year. They didn't have a great year last year, but Nick Saban's going to have these guys ready to go.
Well, Mike, you forgot about the Georgia choke factor. They never win big games.
Doesn't matter.
Well, yeah, it does matter.
What big games?
They never beat Alabama. They don't win the SEC. They don't win playoff games.
So? Does Michigan win big games?
Well, they're not there.
Don't talk,
I'm not
Michigan
talking
fans.
about
Shut the hell up.
Okay.
No one's picking Michigan to win the Big Ten.
No one's picking Michigan when the SEC.
Well, you haven't
We're
seen
not
my
talking about the Big
pick.
Ten.
But I'm gonna.
Mike's Big Ten pick. Oh, Michigan State 12-0 again this year, just like last year.
10-game schedule, we're still going 12-0 somehow.
We
Well,
predicted we go 12-0 last year. Oh, our whole team's returning. Brian Lewerke.
well, I'm surprised nobody's picked them. I'm gonna go with LSU. I don't care if they lost Joe Burrow. And
That's a good pick.
I'll make
That's a
it
good pick.
a third winner. We've got Georgia, Bama, LSU, Seminole.
LSU's got the talent. The problem is, can they put it together?
They got Coach O. They have Coach O.
They
This is
do.
tough.
He's the talking alligator.
I picked Florida to make the playoff originally, but I'm not going to do that anymore because of the conference.
What about
schedule.
South Carolina?
Because of the all conference schedule, I'm not going to pick Florida. I'll take Alabama to win the conference. I would have taken Auburn, but it's an even year, so they're not going to do well. Next year is their year to win the national
That's why they went
championship.
5-3 in conference last year.
Well, that's why they beat Alabama. So
But next year is their year to win. It's an odd year. They're
9-4.
returning a lot of production.
9-4
paying-
I'm going to call
that.
that right now. They're going to win the national championship next year.
okay.
Just like I called Iowa winning the national championship this upcoming year in basketball. We'll get to that, but I'm taking Alabama. Big Ten.
Well, you got to look at Michigan State. I really do think they're a solid football program. Even though we're losing 3-star recruits, the Michigan, that's not a good
Yeah,
thing.
another
to say.
well-run school.
What are we talking about? The Big Ten?
Yeah, another
No.
well-respected school.
I think we should do the MAC for you, the Big Ten.
Big Ten.
Okay.
Well, Michigan.
Well, I
State's
do like
probably playing
Toledo a
for that.
lot. I think Toledo's a good team. Got screwed out of a bowl game last year. Went 6-6, didn't get in somehow. That was ridiculous. But yeah, Toledo for sure.
No, you got to take Central Michigan. They have the best coach in the
They
country.
do have Mike Jim McElwain. Let's see, very open coach. You saw him in the boat with the shark. Anyway, Big Ten. Listen, in the East you got Michigan State, you got Ohio State, you got Rutgers. Those are the top
Maryland's
three.
also in the East. If you want to just keep listening to schools.
I mean, it's just weird because Ohio State's got to play Penn State, but that's not going to be the same atmosphere. It's probably going to be no fans.
Hopefully, is it at Penn State this year?
Yeah,
Oh, perfect.
yeah. So
of course you play them.
You don't need to get
I
to
think-
the whiteout game.
I don't think there's going to be a Tyler Trent game for Ohio because there's no fans. I think Ohio State's going to run through the Big Ten.
Yeah, I'm taking Ohio State. OH. 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 Oh.
All right.
Okay, well, thank you for that, Mike. Yeah, I think the no fans affects the Big Ten the most. Yeah, thank you. I'm going to go with Ohio State. I just think they have way more talent than everybody in conference. And
Yeah,
it's not even close.
If Ohio State doesn't win the Big Ten, they should drop out of the conference. They have most talent out of everybody. Penn State is probably
That's what we
second.
said about Michigan
Not even
basketball
close.
last year. They finished ninth.
Not what I said about Michigan.
Yes, you
basketball.
did.
No, I didn't.
You said they win the national championship.
Okay, let's go around. Who's going to make the playoff?
Me?
No.
Well, first of all, there's not going to be a playoff because
No, the guy, the head of the playoff said if there's football, there'll be a playoff.
Yeah, well, there won't be football. That's the problem. Playoff teams: Big Ten, Ohio State, SEC, Georgia. I think Alabama gets in just because of the freaking name. Although, yeah, Alabama, Georgia both get in. The ACC, it's going to be Clemson or Notre Dame. Clemson's going to get in. I think the Big 12 is just going to beat up on each other, and the Pac-12 is a joke. So those are the 4 teams for me.
Oh, no.
Luke.
I'm going Ohio State, Clemson, Alabama, and Utah. They're my surprise team of the year this year.
That's kind of what I was going to say. I'm going to go with Ohio State, Alabama, Clemson. And I'm gonna throw Oklahoma in there. I know I don't even have them.
Oh, very original.
I don't even have them winning the Big 12, but I think they get in.
Alright.
Nice. Clemson, Ohio State, Alabama, and Arizona State. In my playoff.
That's the worst playoff I've ever heard.
Fork 'em.
Listen, ASU is going to be really good this year.
Fork 'em.
All right.
That's just not okay.
So we're gonna move on here.
That's how they say forks up.
Okay. So we're gonna move into basketball now. Just doing a
Let's
quick
go.
preview of basketball. We have some big news on players
Why
staying
don't we
and
get to
leaving.
Gary Patterson?
Okay, we have some big news on players staying and leaving. The big news, and I'd like to just. So I told Mike that Luka Garza and Isaiah Livers both going to come back, and he told me that players never come back. It's 100% that they go to the draft every single time, and they came back.
Okay.
So that's interesting. And I had assumed who's coming back.
Sounds like
from
a you
Illinois.
problem.
The other guy from Illinois is coming back, too.
Cockburn, yeah.
Cockburn.
Henry's coming back for Michigan State, and just devastating news for Michigan State. And it's for me,
Devastating news.
for me, puts them at a fringe tournament team. Xavier Tillman not coming back. Just it's devastating.
They have Rocket
Devastating.
Watts. Rocket Man.
Rocket Watts.
So
Rocket Man.
I don't know if you guys have any.
Do you have a rocket sound effect?
No, but I have this.
I was surprised to see Marcus Bingham.
Best guard in the Big Ten.
What was that?
Rocket Watts.
I was surprised to see Marcus Bingham not declare for the draft.
No way!
Interesting.
What are you talking about?
Okay.
Oh, BS,
Any comments on players returning and leaving?
Well, I'll stick to the Big Ten because I couldn't care less about any of these other stupid conferences. Listen, I think with Io coming back for Illinois and Cockburn, he was a big piece. I think Illinois is definitely up there. They're going to be competing for a Big Ten title. We don't know how the season's going to look like. We don't know if they're going to do kind of like what football's doing, like just a conference-only schedule. I doubt there'll be non-conference, but we'll see, I guess. But Michigan State's still by far the best team. They have the most talent, best coach, not even close. Point guard, Rocket Watts, he played it a little bit last year.
I know that midget
Solid.
from Penn State's a pretty good coach.
We got Foster Loyer coming off the bench.
Chamberlain?
Pat Chambers.
Pat Chambers.
Jabba Chamberlain, yeah. Listen, Aaron Henry coming back. You didn't mention Aaron Henry, but he's a huge part.
Henry. That's
He's
late
better
news.
than Livers.
That's late.
So that's a big
Livers
piece.
is the best forward in the Big Ten.
What about Seth Towns?
Well, Livers doesn't play a lick of defense, and if
That's
you want
not
to
true.
play, he wouldn't play for Tom Izzo because he doesn't play any
It's not
defense.
true.
You got to play defense.
He does play defense.
because he plays no defense.
He does play
That's why he gave up
tries.
100
He
points a
tries
game
to play
last year.
defense.
He himself gave 100 points.
Yep.
Juwan Howard doesn't coach
Yep.
defense.
Anyway, we still got Matty Sissoko, big recruit. AJ Hoggard,
All
big
right,
recruit,
so
big time
yeah, there's
recruit.
big recruits. Michigan has 3 4-stars, and they
Yeah,
also,
your 4 stars are
yeah,
terrible.
there it is. They're terrible.
You got some big white guy. Like, come on.
So it's the
Kidding
next
me?
John Teskey.
What are you turning to Iowa or something?
He's the next John Teskey.
Right. Yeah. Well, you need a lot more than that. Anyway, Matty Sissoko, we got the big kid, very good. He might start. Marcus Bingham might start, and of course, forgot about Joey Hauser, the dude, very solid,
Foster Loyer.
very high on him.
Speaking of big, Caleb Weston announced he's staying in the draft.
Yeah,
Need a forklift
that's
to
late
get him out of
news.
the Ohio River.
That happened in April. So
Yeah, well, you need a forklift to get him out of the Ohio River.
anyway, yeah, good for Iowa, but they're still, what were they? What did they finish? 6th or 7th last year? They might move up a couple spots, 4th or 5th. I don't think they're that good. They're just too white. They don't play any defense. You
All right,
got to play defense to win the Big Ten.
All right, obviously the big winners of the players announcing coming back is Illinois and Iowa with Luka Garza. But I think Illinois, Iowa.
Wisconsin, Nate Reavers.
Is he coming back? No way. He's like an 8th-year senior.
Yep.
That guy sucks.
And the Big Ten is going to be very competitive. I think Illinois will have a shot to win, but then you also have Iowa, who's going to be up there. Michigan State's always good. Wisconsin's good. Ohio State has a couple good transfers. Michigan's going to be absolutely a disaster.
Absurd.
Absolute, yeah.
Well, they finished ninth in the Big Ten with two of the best players in program history, and now
What
they're
about
going.
Rutgers? Does
Simpson
Rutgers,
hurts our team.
does Rutgers have
All-time assist leader hurts your team.
Does Rutgers have that point guard still?
Geo Baker?
Yeah.
Yeah, he's back.
Okay, then they're going to be good. Marcus Carr up in Minnesota. If your last name's Carr,
Yeah,
you're
they
in the
lost
Big Ten.
to they lost to Turu though.
Yeah, but if your last name's Carr and you're in the Big Ten, that means you're good. So they'll be good. Yeah, it's going to be a very competitive conference this year. I hope the season gets played because it might be the most competitive.
Totally
this year
agree.
in the
I
Big
think
Ten.
this Big Ten is better than last year. It might be a hot take, but it is.
I think the teams are better at the top than they were last
I
year.
was-
But it's not as
No,
I was just
it's
about
still
to
very
say.
deep. I still think 9 teams make the tournament, possibly 10 or 11.
I was just about
Very
to say,
deep.
I think it's just going to be, you're going to see a huge splitting and gap between maybe the top 8 or 9 and the bottom, 3 or 4.
Yeah.
I think there's just going to be a huge difference. I think Iowa obviously got the big winner, but I'm actually going to make a hot take here. I think Luka Garza is going to regress a little bit his senior year. I don't think he's going to be as good as he was his
Yeah.
junior.
I think we've seen that a lot. We've seen players who
Yeah.
have great junior years come back and have not
I
as
just-
good senior
I
years.
just
Like
don't think
Miles
he'll be as
Powell's the
good.
biggest example of that, I would
Um,
say. Cassius
Well, they
Winston,
won
a
the Big-
little
well,
bit.
they won the Big East. So
Well, he wasn't good
yeah, but they won the Big East. So why can't Iowa win Big Ten?
because they don't have any talent.
Yeah, I'm not picking
And the Big
Iowa.
East is a
Iowa,
joke.
Iowa just is not good. They're not good besides Luka Garza.
I would win the Big East. Are the 8th
Yeah,
best
I
team in the
would- I
Big
think
They
Ten.
could win the
I
Big
was
East.
Michigan would win the Big East.
Every single player returning, and they got Bohannon back.
From what, a 6th-ranked 6th team in the Big Ten?
Yeah,
Well,
but
as
the
we,
rest-
hey, as
the
we
top
said with the
17.
Big East, we'll see how good the Big East is depending on how UConn does this year.
That's right, UConn. Let's go.
If UConn wins the Big East, then they're officially the worst conference in college
Yeah,
basketball.
they're not gonna win the Big
They
East.
finished like 10th
They're
in the
solid.
American
UConn's a solid
Athletic.
team.
Yeah, so I think you'll see the big gap. Iowa's the big winner here. I don't care about Illinois. I don't think that's.
They have a great coach, Brad Underwood.
Yeah, Illinois is
Yeah.
the second best team in the Big Ten. So.
All right, let's relax.
Yes, they are.
And believe it or not, unlike the first two guests here, I don't think Michigan's going to be complete garbage. But I just don't know how they're going to replace Xavier Simpson at the top. Maybe they'll make a few more free throws.
Well, listen,
Yeah, Mike
I don't think they're going to be garbage. Do I think they make the tournament with this new?
They'll be like a
All right,
9
stop
seed.
it.
They'll be like
Stop
They'll be close.
Yeah.
I don't like their talent. I don't.
What talent?
What is the coach's son going to start? Like who do they have?
I will tell you who they
Mike
have.
Smith.
All right,
Some
let me
guy
tell you who they have right now. Let me tell you who they have. This is ridiculous. They have Smith, who averages 20 points a game for Columbia, 71. Maybe he comes in for 6 points a game. Fine. They have Eli Brooks.
Yeah, okay.
I hate you.
All right, I think your argument's
He'll be a
good. I
two-year
think you're
starter.
done.
He started his freshman year.
We're
over Simpson.
done.
He's
We're
done.
done.
Stop. He started his freshman year over Simpson. They have Livers,
Should
they have
have
Wagner,
Wagner.
and they're probably going to start Dickinson, the 4-star recruit they just got.
Dickinson.
So let's
He's got Dick in his name. He sucks.
Let's take a look at their bench. They got 2 more 4-stars off the bench. They got
Who?
Austin Davis.
Oh, boy.
You can't even keep a straight
Austin Davis
face.
played last year.
He sucks.
And they have
He has one
And they
move.
have Brandon Johns.
He has one
They
move.
have
The,
Brandon Johns.
the drop step to the baseline. That's all he
What about
has.
Brandon Johns?
Brandon Johns from Michigan State didn't
And
even
then
recruit him. The
Adrian
dude out of East Lansing, we didn't recruit him.
They have Nunez. That's 10 good
Made us up
players.
for 25 points. We still
Yeah,
beat his
well
ass.
The true winners of
Gabe Brown
the
put
true
a
winners
51.
of the players announcing is St. Andrews in Bucks Division 2. They only lost 2 players this year, but they're returning about 12. Their entire program's coming back.
And star player Luke.
All right.
That's right.
So we have basketball recruiting update here on this list I have from Mike, but I refuse to talk about recruiting, and this podcast will not associate with recruiting as long as I'm on it. So I refuse to introduce that. So let's just have a Big Ten basketball preview. Let's.
Well, let's talk about Amoni Bates for a second because I think it's a big topic. It's
Almost
a
as
big.
big as Caleb Wesson.
Yeah, well, Caleb Wesson is big, and he's also in the Ohio River right now. So keep that in mind.
Badass Caleb Wesson.
Yeah, exactly. And who's the other Wesson?
Andre.
Andre. What a player Andre was.
All right, so we're gonna move on. Here.
Anyway, big recruiting win for Michigan State.
Nobody
The
cares.
dude was from Ann Arbor, and Michigan couldn't even get him.
Nobody
What a
cares.
joke.
Nobody cares.
I only care about recruiting when we
cares.
get him over Michigan.
Nobody cares. Okay, so let's start off your top.
Let's talk about Max Christie, another player we got over Michigan.
All right, we have a
Talk about how great Juwan Howard is, and the dude can't recruit to save his life. So,
our last topic.
anyway, let's talk about Michigan's ineptitude in the recruiting.
Let's talk about our last topic. Just list your top 5 Big Ten teams going into the basketball season.
In order?
In order.
Purdue.
1, Michigan State. 2, Illinois. I can't even freaking think. 3, Wisconsin. 4, Iowa. 5 is a toss-up between Ohio State and Indiana. I'll go Ohio State.
Indiana? Are you kidding me?
All right, my top
They
5.
suck.
They got a,
This
they got
order.
a 5-star.
Vince
recruit.
Miller.
I'm not sure about my order,
They
but
want me to
I'll,
Langford. He was a 5-star.
Shut up. I'm not sure about my order, but I'll give an order. I'll go
Yeah.
1, Illinois. 2,
You're the one who hated Illinois last year.
I know, I love them now. I love them this year. 1, Illinois. 2, Iowa. 3, Ohio State. 4, Wisconsin. 5, Michigan State.
All right.
That's brutal.
That's interesting.
I'm gonna go 1 Michigan State.
Come on. They lost Winston.
Shut up.
Team.
Yeah, shush.
Now Rocket Watson, Foster Water.
How do you have Iowa, Wisconsin on top? They don't.
I was gonna say-
Because Iowa freaking barely won 10 games.
I'm
last
gonna,
year.
go, I'm gonna go 2 Illinois, 3 Wisconsin, 4 Iowa. I'm gonna go 5 Ohio State.
Let's go.
Let's go. Michigan won.
right,
Iowa 1, Iowa 2, Iowa 3.
I'm guessing you have Michigan moving up 25 spots because they finished 85th in the Big
Chris
Ten
is going to
last
have
year.
Iowa number 1, Michigan number 2, Michigan's bench number 3, Michigan's depth number 4, Michigan's coaching staff number 5.
All right, number
Come on now,
one
number
is clearly Iowa, and number 2 is Wisconsin. Those are clearly the 2 best teams. It's not even close. Everybody else is way behind.
That's ridiculous.
Both those teams are going to get 1 seed to the tournament. Iowa's the best team in
What?
the country.
What? 1 seed in
Well,
what
what's after?
tournament?
What's after?
NCAA tournament.
NIT?
The NCAA
What's
tournament.
after?
The
What's after?
CBA
All
or
right,
whatever.
number 3, I have Michigan.
Oh my
I
God.
have them being better than last year. They get 3 4-star recruits. Livers comes back. This is a really
Your
good
team is garbage.
I have Illinois number 4.
Your team plays no
It's very
defense.
close between Illinois and
Your
Michigan.
team needs Tom Izzo. That's what they need.
I
They're
have
soft.
Michigan State
They have a
number
bunch of
5.
soft white guys.
But Michigan State's still top 5 seed in the NCAA tournament. You know, solid team because of coaching. They don't have a lot of talent though. And then I do think Ohio
A lot
State.
more talent than Michigan.
Ohio
that's for
State
sure.
Rutgers are really good teams, but they were just outside my top 5. Okay. Do we have anything else? Actually, no. I shouldn't even ask that. That's gonna do it.
That's good.
So let's talk about Gary Patterson.
That's going to do it for today's podcast. Thank you for
Michigan sucks.
joining.
Michigan sucks.
We'll be back soon. Hopefully the football season happens, and thank you all for watching.
All right, I got next.
I got next.